My name is Jo. You're here for the special edition Firefly Friday, which is a new experimental series that we've got going on. And I'm pretty excited about this one. I haven't done anything like what we're about to do really before, so I'm a bit out of my comfort zone, but that's, that just makes it more exciting. And I think we should just get right into it. As you can see, the graphics, I should say, of this stream are maybe a bit telling of what we're gonna get up to. And if you zoom in, you do see that race car. Goodness me. As you know, I draw more botanical or organic shapes, so anything that is a computer or anything that's mechanized or more geometric is a little bit out of my comfort zone. But I'm thinking I might be able to combine the two sort of shape languages today into something exciting. So for today's Firefly Friday, we're going to be designing a race car using Adobe Firefly. Yeah, I know, right? But before we get started, I just want to say hello to Manny in the chat. Hope you're doing well, and hello to anyone watching on either Behance or on YouTube. If you have any questions for me as we go along, feel free to just post it in the chat and I will do my best to answer it. We of course have Flynn in my ears and in the chat, being the chat mod for today. So thank you very much, Flynn, for helping out. And speaking of Flynn, if we can turn up the music just a little bit, perhaps, that would be great. There we go. I think that's good. Let me know, chat, if the music is good as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. So below here, I just have some sample images of what I prompted Firefly with. So to look up the exact words that I used, it was things like side view of a stylized race car. I also used my classic combo of pastel colors, golden hour lighting, and the simple, nostalgic, and kitsch or kitschy in my style preferences. And if you want to learn more about Firefly, I'm sure Flynn will post a link in the chat at some point. But yeah, basically the criteria that I wanted to set for myself was cool, sort of very simple and graphic references or inspirations in this case, because none of these cars are going to be atomically... Is it like autonomously accurate instead of anatomically accurate because it's an automobile? I don't know. Either way, we have some lovely examples of race cars here and sort of a variety of designs and shapes, and I think you can guess that some of these would work and some of these might not work as well as actual race cars. And then the next thing that I did was just look at these references down below to do a little bit of prep for the stream today, and just sketch out basic shapes using these references. And yeah, that sounds like a great idea, Flynn. We're just gonna swap over the camera a little bit to make the screen even bigger so you can see more of what I'm drawing. So Flynn will do that in just a second. There we go. Fantastic. So yeah, alongside these sketches, I had some notes on background. If we have time, I'd love to do a little bit of a simple background. But then also just some notes on kind of the art direction of what I wanted to go for today. So we're really getting down into the nitty-gritty. But before we start that, I'm going to hide the sketch layer and just quickly show you the doll that I finished coloring from last stream. So last stream we did a Barbie-inspired doll designing streams, and this is sort of as far as I got sort of at the end of the day, just to fill you guys in on the progress there. But now it's not Barbie time, it is let's go racing. So what I'm going to do is actually just enlarge the sketch image here as much as I can, because there is a size limit, unfortunately, to Fresco, and we are using Fresco again today, which is my tried and true illustration app at the moment. I do go in between Photoshop and Fresco, but Fresco is kind of my main one. So let's see, I'm just going to start from the top and make that a bit smaller maybe. Start from the top, and actually I'm going to take off this bracelet that I have. I'm just going to focus on the overall big shape, because today is going to be a great opportunity for clipping masks to be the hero of the stream today. Pop in the ruler so we get a nice straight line, roughly. Do like so. Nice. So what I'm planning to do is create the main silhouette of the vehicle, and then we're actually just gonna make that a clipping mask and draw within that shape. Because as race cars are designed to go very quickly, I thought it would be interesting to try sort of not necessarily a speed run approach. I'm already going into slightly too much detail, but I'll just do this window. I promise I won't go into more detail. Let's see, but just see how quickly and how many of these sketches that we can get done with the time that we have. Now, I've just realized I should probably make that wheel on a separate layer and then move it to roughly that position. And then I am actually just going to first find whatever fragment. There we go. I'm just actually going to duplicate it. Let's see, duplicate layer, and then move it further back. Just because for this stream, the wheel is the exact same shape, and I don't feel too bad about just copying that over. Now the last thing, I'm just going to do a quick clean up here of the silhouette. And then we're going to fill this in and make it a clipping mask. And no, Manny, I'm not using a Wacom tablet. I'm using the iPad Pro. But if you're using Android, I believe there is Fresco available for Android. But for iOS or for desktop, so if you have a PC, I believe you can use Fresco on the PC, which is pretty neat. Let's see here. So now I'm just going to still work non-destructively, and I'm going to group these layers, and then I'm going to duplicate that group. And this is, yes, adding a couple more steps, but there, it's already done. And now, gonna do a layer below, just do a more visible color, so I can see when I'm going in or outside of the lines. And all I'm gonna do, okay, maybe not that big a brush, all I'm gonna do is fill this in. And then we have our foundation for our car design. Now, I'm curious, chat, did you, as a kid really like cars? Were you a Matchbox car collector, or have cars never really been your thing? Do you like cars now? And if so, what kind of cars do you like? I grew up watching Top Gear, but that was more for the fun experiments and testing that they did. Not so much for the car reviews, if I'll be perfectly honest. But I do really like the look of older cars. So like 50s, 60s cars, very pretty. And I don't quite understand what makes the ultimate race car in this case. I did let Firefly tell me, at the very least visually, what the ultimate race car needs. But if we do have any people in the chat that know more about race cars, or just cars in general, I'd love to hear if there's anything, any must-haves that we should add to our cars to make them the coolest race car ever. Let's see here. Okay. We have the foundation of our car done. So what we'll do now, let's have a little think. Is how about we do some color blocking? Okay, so I've done a layer now on top of our foundational layer, and I'm going to do a different color again. And this, I know I'm using a lot of reds and pinks here, but that's just because they were the most recent colors I've used. But this is really just to distinguish the different shapes that we want. Now let's see. We don't actually need to do a clipping mask just yet, because we do want to have these shapes that I'm making now actually be independent from the main shape. Now, because I don't think you can do a clipping mask within a clipping mask in the way that I would like. You might be able to, but as you can tell, I am trying to speed through this process somewhat. Pardon the pun. So that we can get to the fun bit of just experimenting with the color and texture of things, as opposed to sort of thinking, okay, well, where does the motor go, and is that enough space for the motor? Which, of course, if you're doing automobile design, is very important. But for our little experiment today, not so much. Okay. I think these are our main components. Now let's have a look at our style references. So let's see. We do have the classic solid color with a bit of highlight, some gradients and different textures. I'm just going through these and having a bit of a think. I do really like this one, so I'm gonna make a mark on this one. That, let's say this is inspiration 1. And we'll use that for this car. So for inspiration 1, let's now go back to the tiniest car that we've done, and we will select everything here. and bring it up to size. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. And what we'll also do, actually, I'm going to go in here and find our reference image that I really liked. I'm going to jump that out and also scale that up, so I have a better idea of our reference as we're now going into the clipping mask stage. Very exciting. Okay, well, let's find the right brush for this, and I think it's going to have to be, let's see, where is Ben Marriott's? There we go. And let's bump that up to, let's do 150. Let's see if that's big enough. That is not big enough. That's 250. Now a little bit bigger. Okay. So let's try out doing a little bit of rim lighting on this car. Now, bearing in mind that these colors aren't the final colors, and that I will be able to change these as we go along. No, I think I need an even bigger. Let's see, yeah. We're just focusing on creating these cool shadows and light effects in our car here. Now, I will say I am finding the out of pocket colors a little bit distracting. So what I'm actually going to do is go in here, make another clipping mask, and then go back to our brush, make that a big brush. And let's see, actually, chat, what color do you think this race car should be? It could be red. I'm not opposed to red. I'm gonna pick, let's see, that red for the body of the car. But you tell me if you have any favorite race car colors. Do let me know and we'll try to incorporate that. Because then we'll actually delete that layer. Oh no, we don't need to. What we can do is merge that down. So now the car has changed color. And let's see here. No, we do still need to delete that layer. And now, knowing that this is now the official color of the car, let's think what an appropriate highlight color would be. It might actually be that we can just sample from this image here. And let's now go back to Ben Marriott's grain heavy brush. I'm actually going to bring it down to size a little bit. And just do a bit of shadow work here. And then for a cool effect, I'm going to go back to the line work pencil that we're using. and sort of cut away these shadows with the actual line work brush to give it a little bit more texture and interest. Let's see. Okay, that's a good start. Now you will notice that I have unclipped it, and that's just in case we want to change the color of this shadow. But for the time being, this is looking good. Now the next thing I want to do is do a clipping mask again on the foundational layer, and let's pick a darker red and use that for, let's see, excuse me, hide that. Use this red, or maybe it should be a blue. Yeah, I think it should be a blue. Let's just pick that blue. Exactly, Manny. We want to create a sense of it being metallic and a sense of it being being a 3D shape, or just having volume to it. So I think it was Ben Eblin that said, like, making it volumetric. So volumetric design, knowing where the lights and the shadows are, so that we can give an indication of this is a rounded object, that this object has form. So there we go. And then I'm going to go and just clean up a little bit here. All right. Now these wheels, let's consider the wheels. Might just make those a basic darker color. And the good thing about using a bright base or bright foundation as your bright color as your foundation is that when you're adding on additional color, you can see if you've covered up all of the area that you want to cover up. Like, for example, here with the pink over the red, you can see that I did miss some areas. So I'm just going to go in and fill that in properly. Now let's see, that's looking good. I think I am sold on that color. I'm gonna make that a clipping mask. Have that there for now, and then I think, let's see, because I haven't made too many cars or drawn too many cars, I am very much making it up as I go along. If you can't tell, it should be pretty obvious, but let's just keep it going. So again, with the, what do you call it, the grain brush, we are now just going to go in here and maybe not that color, maybe with this red. Go in and sort of mimic the shapes that we see here on our reference car. And see how that works. Which I know that the actually, let's remove the shadow for now, or the highlight for now. It is distracting me a little bit. Now this textured light that we are getting here in this Firefly image, I don't think that's necessarily connected to any, not the textured light, just the texture in general here. I don't think that that is in relation to a light source, so we don't have to worry about that. But let's just go in and give it a bit of personality and shape. And I'd say this is layer 1. Of creating this texture, because I'm actually going to go in. Ooh, let's do a color burn. And I've duplicated what we've just done, and let's see. Move it around and see if we can get any interesting effects here. Interesting. Now, as always, this is, for me, this stage, it's very much a trial and error. But I do like that. That's cool. But I don't like it. Everywhere. So let's just group that. No, I can't do that. This is where clipping masks get a little bit tricky, with just being able to hide and show things, and having a variety of layers. Let's do that on top. You know what, chat? I am finding this one a little bit trickier than I thought it was going to be, which is all right. We'll just have to figure out what the next best step is. And I think the next best step is, I like what we're doing here in the front, but I don't like these shapes. So I'm just going to remove those for now. And what I'm also going to do is do a clipping mask over the line work that we have and blend in these lines just somewhat. And again, this is an experimental stream, yes, but this is also an experiment in seeing, testing my general abilities. So if I'm not liking the way something is going, I will actually just change and adapt. Because at the end of the day, I do want to make something that I enjoy at the end of the day. Because that generally also means that all of you will have enjoyed it as well. So let's see here. Already, I'm liking this a lot more. And I think that's largely due to the fact that I have just fixed the, in my opinion, issue of the very strong line work. All right, and in conjunction with that, I'm gonna sample the color of the line work and go to the wheels, color those in fully as well. Yeah, there we go. Already, this is coming across to me as a much more put together sketch. And what we actually could do is just as a test. Let's see. Something has happened there. Let's go in here. There's a mystery line. Where did that come from? Ah, I know what it is. It's from this that we did. Okay. There we go. Let's see here. I am trying to sort of talk you through this one, but this more than most, I am learning a lot. Okay, let's take a break and sit back. Okay, so we have our basic shape. I think what's happened here is I've delved too quickly into the fancy metallic shine and detail and not necessarily thought about the construction of this car. So let's take a step back. I'm gonna grab this color, I think, and let's figure out the rest of the components of the car so we know where our shadows and shapes are coming from. Okay, I think this is the car door. I will admit, it's at times like this I miss having you in the stream with me, Flynn. Just someone to egg me on, but we got this. Okay, so that is going to be the door. I'm going to make an empty mask here because I don't, for the time being, want to have that indication of the door there like I had in the sketch. Fix that up as well. Let's see. Oh, what have I done here? Good enough. Okay. Oh no, actually the shape that I want. Let's follow this line. Make the door a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I think that's cool. Yeah, what do we think of that? I think that's a very cool looking door. Now let's do the next shape. Mess with the colors a little bit. Let's see. Something like that, maybe. Because then we can have it go like this over here. Yeah, now we're talking. As I say, now we're cooking with gas, I think is the term. So now what I'm realizing I needed to do is just give a little bit more visual interest and shape to the car as we're going here. I am trying to be mindful of time as well. Hopefully we'll have time to finish this one. Now this was a little bit more of a complicated stream for me personally. I've come to realize, but I think we're gonna pull through. Now what I noticed here is that windscreens or glass screens aren't usually brown, so let's fix that up. And I think we need one more color here on the inside of the car to give it that last bit of shape. Or maybe it is now time again for that highlight. Let's see. I'm going to plan out the shine and highlight of the car with this yellow here, because I don't think we have time to thin this. And there is actually something very fun coming up that I want to talk to you about. So let's see. Now, real quick, Let's actually get very contrasty green. And make some interesting shapes here. Ooh, yeah, let's go with that. And group all our base and clipping mask layers together so that we can just clip that in, duplicate it. Let's see, move it just a tad, and do Now I have gone absolutely overboard with this. Let's remove that one. Maybe that one too, actually. But as you can see, we have here designed our very own super fast, super cool looking race car. And there we go. Now, before we head off, I do just want to give you a heads up on an event that is happening next week. So Never Not Creative is an organisation, not for profit organisation here in Sydney, or based here in Sydney, and spanning across Australia and in fact across the world. And they are putting on an event, as part of their roadshow campaign, talking about internships, and internships specifically in what benefit they can give to creative companies, why you should have them, how you should do them right. And as part of their Sydney stop on this roadshow journey, they are having an event on the 16th. Now I'm going to bring up the promo image here for it. So just rewards, a Never Not Creative roadshow. So it's going to be a series of discussions with creative business owners, leaders, grads, and interns about building an industry where everyone is justly rewarded. Now it's hosted by Never Not Creative, and it's going to be partnering with Mike DeSetto from Never Sit Still and Isabel Trudgeon, who is a junior designer. Now I think that's going to be really exciting. Hopefully you got enough info there on the promo image. That, I think, brings us to the end today. A bit of a challenge today, but I think we still had fun. Now I gotta say goodbye. I'm gonna cut off. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.